So once again, warm welcome to everyone here. Thanks for choosing to be here. Those of us who are cricket fans choosing to be here, when there's an interesting match going on between Lucknow and Rajasthan. So just to set the context, this is a webinar that we do before every batch, and Rekha and I run these programs. Rekha and I are the facilitators of this program. Both of us are MCC ICF. The purpose of this is more to spread the word around what is ICF, what is coaching, and what it takes to become a ICF Credentialed Coach. Frankly, the batch is almost full. Given a choice, we wouldn't have done this, but we are also committed to the process, the discipline. So we said we'll not cancel this, and this time we are also starting a PCC batch in July, which again Rekha and I run this. So even if there are questions around PCC, we are happy to take them. On that note, the way we are structured is we have a small deck. I'll run through that in say 15 minutes max, a sprint kind of a thing. And then I would request Rekha to come in and give her perspective. And also, of course, Rekha, feel free to interrupt during the slide presentation also, as always. Then we really want to throw open and take questions. That's the way we want to structure this. Again, it's a template that we try to follow, and not new in terms of the template. And if you have any question, put in the chat box. Karan is there. We'll ensure that all of them are addressed. Yeah. Why we want to run through the slide deck is some of your questions might get answered. So there is no need to kind of interrupt, rather wait for the story to unfold. Yeah, that point of view. Yeah. So as the title goes, it's about how to become an ICF coach. It could be an ACC or a PCC. We were restricting to ACC or PCC because you have to be PCC to go to an MCC. So it's primarily, this journey is more about becoming an ICF professional coach. Now, what is not coaching? That's one thing that there are a lot of misconceptions around this. So we're just going to spend a minute on what is not coaching before we look at what is coaching. Coaching is not mentoring. Mentoring comes from a subject matter expert, a boss, somebody who has done it, seen it, who's an expert. The expert is the keyword here, who's kind of giving that gyan to the next generation, or to the subordinate, or to the team member. So mentoring comes from that strength of the knowledge of the business, of the process, of everything that goes into that role. So you're kind of reaching out to a teacher and get the download. It's not consulting, because consulting again is more of an external expert who comes in. They have a bigger perspective around the industry, about the developments, the macroeconomic factors, the potential threats, and all that stuff. So they bring in more an external expertise into the whole process, whereas mentoring is an internal expert. So to that extent, they come in, they look at the goal, they set the goal, decide what are the drawbacks, what are the areas of improvement, and use multiple tools, cutting edge tools, because they have access to it, and they are typically the sharpest brains, right? Management graduates to IITs, and they give that inputs, and they literally typically go away. The implementation is done internally. Training is, all of us are familiar with training in the corporate scenario or otherwise. Training is again an expert coming and giving, but it's more of an subject matter expert in that particular topic. It could be soft skills to anything that that trainer is good at. So now, what is not here is it's not also therapy. Therapy again is very different from coaching. For example, therapy allows the therapist to go into the past, resolve that, and then bring back the learning and then move. Whereas in coaching, we typically don't go so much into the past. At a mastery level, we do go into the past because we know how much to go, what to achieve from that past, come back and then move ahead. But here it is more about setting the goal and then working towards that. And all the constraints that typically comes up. So it's not mentoring, it's not consulting, it's not training, it's not therapy, a lot of other variants. Now, we started off with a cricket example, so it's very different from sports coaching. Sports coaching, a lot of sports coaching today is still the expert, and it's more of a combination of mentoring, bit of consulting, a lot of training, and of course a bit of coaching. But there's a very small element of classical coaching that the way we practice there. So the million-dollar question is, today Virat Kohli just seemed to be coming out of that rough patch. For somebody who's so hardworking, so committed, so fitness-oriented, what would have helped him? Perhaps a professional coach. We strongly feel a professional coach might have done something. While he's figuring it out, the last innings was good. Maybe he's kind of rediscovering the magic, but maybe a professional coach would have helped him. Yeah. So what is coaching? Coaching is outcome oriented, right? The destination or the goal is decided by the client. The journey is decided by the client. And the pace is decided by the client. Everything is decided by the client, but in a partnering way. It's not something that the client hijacks the process. No, there is still a framework. That's what we expose the coaches to as part of a curriculum. That's what brings Rekha and me here. We expose you to the process. So within that process, there is a partnering. The client decides. Yeah, it's not too client centric, but it's a dancing in the moment. It's a jugalbandi, or it's something that is partnering. Now, simple example, very, very basic example. I want to go to Chennai, for example. I have multiple options. I can take a train, I can drive down, I can take a bus, I can fly down. Right? There are multiple options. There is an old Madras road, there is this new road, via the highway. There are multiple options that I have. So the client and the coach decides what is best for the client. And the process unfolds for the client, what is best for the client. And I know it's not that somebody is made to catch a flight when that person has the fear of flying, for example. Yeah. So, or somebody is forced to drive down, and the person has this nausea and little stuff. Some people do have, right? They can travel by road, not only cart, even straight roads. So it's a very client-centric, but in a partnering way. This is a beautiful part of coaching. It's about two equal partners, two equal adults. It's not a parent to child, as we say in transaction analysis, nor a child to parent. It's a conversation between two adults. Now, I had yesterday one of our learner coaches who wanted to come and experience my way of coaching. So she landed at the office with a prior appointment. Early 20s, still learning to coach. But when we sit across the table for a coaching conversation, there is no mentor-mentee relationship also. It's about two equals. Not very easy, but it's very critical in a coaching process. So all this doesn't happen in mentoring, guiding, training, or therapy. Yeah, that's also a very important difference. It's construct versus instruct methodology. Yeah, it's a co-creation. It's a journey to transformation. This is the most important part of coaching. Coaching is not about a band-aid response to an injury. It's a surgical response to an injury. The small chota-mota, resolutions, you don't need a professional coach. You will get a lot of those guidance from, a lot of people around you. But if you want to really set a transformational goal and go for it, then you need a professional coach. Typically, a lot of clients come with transactional goals. I want to reach my next promotion or the CEO in 3 years, 2 years. I want to lose weight. This is very basic problems or symptoms that the clients come to us for coaching. But the process demands that the coach express what is the goal behind the goal. The goal behind the goal is an art of coaching. It goes beyond the process. And that not everyone can handle it. That's why the training, certification, the whole journey to become a coach is very critical. So either the client comes with a transformational coach, or the coach partners with the client to Look beyond the stated goal, look beyond the symptom. Again, a common example I give is I go to my doctor with a headache. The doctor can give me a headache, a tablet for a headache, or will dig deeper to understand where is this coming from. And the doctor is truly powerful when the option 2 is looked at. Maybe there is nothing. You don't overdo it also. You don't look at every problem as there is something deeper and then complicate it. No, sometimes it is very, very transactional, very basic. But you don't need a coach. No, you can actually go to the pharmacy and I developed cold over the last 2 days. I know a particular tablets. I just went to the medical shop. I said, "You have this cold tablet, the small one. What is it?" And it's very mild. You don't feel sleepy. He said, "This is the name. Is this the one?" I said, "Yes." So I didn't see a doctor. That is transactional versus transformation. Very basic example. It's very important that you're on a transformational journey when you sign up for a coach. Now, this perhaps is an important part of today's presentation. This is the definition of coaching as given by ICF. Now, we spend an hour on this when we run the programs, breaking this into each words and what's the meaning behind it. But some of the key words that I leave you with is partnering. Yeah, again, we already discussed it's between adult to adult. It's a process, but it's just not a mechanical process. It's also a creative process built on the strong foundation of the scientific process. So it's both the science and the art. What does it do? It inspires the client to take actions. And what is the outcome? To maximize potential, both personal and professional. It's just not about, I want a promotion is a professional goal. But when I'm linking it to what is your potential? Where do you see yourself as your full potential? That's what becomes coaching. And that's a question we ask in different ways. Each of us ask in our own way. So it goes beyond the stated goal, which is linked to the potential. And this is a very important part of coaching. Yeah. Now, we undertook a study at Regal to look at the whole Indian landscape of coaching. So this is something that the team came up with to look at what is the ecosystem of coaching. And typically all of you here on this webinar would be at some stage on this slide. Either you're thinking of becoming a coach with all its confusion. Rekha and I have gone through it, so we understand that. Should I become a certification to become a professional coach? That is the first question. There are 2.6 million coaches on LinkedIn, but ICF membership count is less than 50,000. So even if you take other not so important, not so popular coach certifications, maybe 100,000. So where is this other 2.5 million coming from? Those are all self-styled or self-proclaimed, or coaches are not trained and certified. Yeah. So you make that first choice. If you make that choice, then it's about, do I go for an ICF or any other certification program? If it is ICF, then this webinar is relevant to you. This webinar is more if you are looking at this as an option. You may be still here, but if you're still considering this, then this webinar will be more useful. Just setting the context. So why ICF? Why should you opt for an ICF credential? Yeah. It's the largest community of professional coaches. Now, the key word is professional. I keep repeating this word. Yeah. Otherwise, it's all, with all respect to the non-credentialed, non-certified coaches, they're not trained to become professional. Yeah. There's an extra focus on the ethics and values of professional coaching as listed by ICF. This goes beyond the legality of compliance on legal terms. It's a letter and spirit. Yeah, and it's a very demanding document that demands action. ICF has a solid framework for research. Every 5 years, they keep, I'm in the space for the last 10 years. I've seen 2 rounds of big changes that they're doing. One change is happening now, as we speak, in 2022, because it got delayed because of COVID. Otherwise, a lot of smaller changes. It's evolving. It's a 27-year-old organization. So there's a lot of, nimbleness in there. in this approach. Research is a big part of it. So anything that they're saying there, they look at research and they back it up to ensure that they are on the right track. Yeah. So it's a global brand. So whether you take a certification or credential from a training institute like us from India or New Zealand or North America, South America, you are still an ICF coach. It opens up a global canvas for you. Yeah. And I have clients from different parts of this globe. This is again just one slide, a teaser from the research that we have done. Why ICF? If you look at this, you can see, the earning potential of an ICF coach is much higher than a non-ICF coach. There are exceptions in both cases. There are ICF coaches who are charging below. There are non-ICF coaches who are earning more. But that, you can see 60% of them come in this bracket. So if you're looking at becoming a professional coach, earning a bread and butter, then ICF is an option that you should definitely consider. Make an intelligent choice, make an evaluation, then make a choice and stick with it. Now the NPS score. This is again based on the research by an external agency. 91% were satisfied because you're trained to manage it. Again, the metaphor that I use is for comparing is, it's like, those of us who are familiar with Mahabharata, it's like Abhimanyu knew how to enter the Chakravyuh. You need to be trained and certified. If not ICF, something as good as that, if at all there is something. Yeah. So NPS score and earning potential indicate that you are, you stand to benefit. You're on the right track, perhaps if you choose to go the ICF path. It's a rigorous route. It's an expensive route, both expensive in terms of time, effort, energy, and money. But this slide shows that there is some inherent advantages if you have become an ICF coach. Yeah. I'm just looking at the time. So why should one opt for an ICF certification? And there are so many different types of ICF denominator. Like I said, Rekha and I are MCC. Both of us were PCC before we went for MCC. We didn't go for an ACC. We went directly to PCC. There are different routes to ICF, ACC, and PCC. It's called ACTP, ACSTH. Now, what we offer is ACSTH route, the second one, to ACC and PCC. Again, by choice. Yeah. So, what does it take to become an ACC through the ACSTH route? I'm sure some of you have had a conversation with our team. This might be repetition, but it is still good to be aware what are you committing to in terms of the rigor of the program when you sign up for an ICF program. Yeah, and we take pride in the fact that our program is one of the rigorous out there in the market in this part of the world. So to that extent, allow me to spend a minute or so on this. It's 60 hours of training, of which 48 hours is in group setting. ICF has brought it down to minimum 30 hours, but we have stayed with 48 hours, which we feel is the right thing. Rekha and I have had multiple to do because the competition, a lot of competition has gone to 30 hours or between 48 and 30 hours, but we remain at 40 hours of synchronous training. The balance 12 hours is your additional assignments, self-study and other stuff. Second is minimum 10 hours of mentoring. You are mentored by both of us for the trainers here. 7 hours in the group, 3 hours minimum in one-to-one, but you end up actually getting much, much more than that. You need to practice 100 hours of coaching based on the framework that we expose you to outside the classroom. Now, what you practice within the class is not counted here. I personally rate this as the most critical element of this journey. How will you do this 100 hours? How will you run this marathon of 100 hours will determine how good a coach you turn out to be. Yeah. The depth, the reflective part, the commitment, everything, the ethics, of course, everything that, you try jugaad here, you'll not become a great coach. I can guarantee you that. The fourth one is there are some assignments which go into this 12 hours, but little more than that, including 2 coaching conversations to be submitted to us and 1 recording with transcript goes to ICF. Once you complete these 4, then you are applying to ICF. Once you apply to ICF, if your recording is cleared, and your application is processed, then you have to go give a CKA, Coaching Knowledge Assessment Test. It's a multiple choice test for 3 hours on coaching situations. Yeah. So one word, maybe 2 more minutes, 2 more slides. Why choose Regal Unlimited? We are ICF approved. These programs are run by Rekha and me and others who are professional coaches. We handhold you like like no other institutes do. We go way beyond the minimum expectation of 10 hours of mentoring, which is the customized. And you're also part of an elite community of professional coaches. There's nothing comparable as the alumni body of coaches that we have. Yeah. Now, again, additional reasons why you should choose Regal Unlimited. We are into professional coaching, both one-to-one for all leaders. We also offer team coaching for corporate teams. We also offer corporate coach training like ACC, PCC, and other programs. There's one more which we missed adding here. It is, it's a certification program for leaders. We call it Leader as Coach program. It's more for people who don't want to become a professional coach, but want to add coaching to their leadership and life. We offer mentor coaching for new coaches as well as for renewals. Coaching Unlimited is a very special initiative we started this year. And this is a retreat to enable practicing coaches to experience mastery and sustain mastery. I mentioned about the research, again, industry first in this part of the world. We are also into healing and counseling. So we are, if you look at 3 major areas, we are into coaching, coach training, and healing and counseling. Also includes the retreat and the research that we do. We intend to continue with this retreat and research on an annual basis. Yeah. Yeah, so we are into coaching. We complete 8 years in September. We have trained over 250 professional coaches for ICF, over 1,000 coaches for various other workshops and Leader as Coach programs. We have touched around 50 global organizations, yeah, including some of the global brands in India. Yeah, that's. I've taken 3-4 more minutes because we added a couple of slides this time. Rekha, anything you want to come in and any additional points that you want to share? And stop sharing.
A couple of things that came up for me, Subash. So I was just looking at your earlier slides of how coaching is different from mentoring, consulting, and how it is partnering, etc., etc. And I was wondering whether anybody had a question mark that came up for them saying, all this is fine. So I understand how important coaching is and how coaching is beneficial. But why become a coach? Why not become a mentor or a consultant or a counselor? Why become a coach? So I thought, I'll just add a couple of points there about what do you hope to gain by being a coach? And I'm not just talking about making coaching your business. I'm talking about personally, right? So the differentiator here is partnership. So it's an opportunity for you to experience the transformation of another human being enabled by you on their own. So if that is the kind of thing that excites you, then this is just the place for you. How is it where somebody is, blooming or expanding without you doing anything to them, so to say, right? Not in a consultative way, not in a prescriptive way, but they're just blossoming because you're partnering with them. So that is one. And second thing, unlike a consultant and a mentor or a teacher, what differentiates a coach from these is the self-work that you need to do on yourself. So unless and until you have done the work on yourself and you have transformed and you are getting the benefit of what your clients will get, you will not become a good coach. Where a consultant will only look at external knowledge, mentor will only look at external knowledge, teacher will only look at, or trainer will only look at external knowledge, a coach is equipping themselves with internal knowledge, and that is a big differentiator. So that is the advantage that coaches have over the others.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, this is a life. If you choose to become a coach, it's a lifelong commitment to do self-work as long as you want to practice as a coach. Yeah, I can't agree more. So I can see there's one question. What kind of hand-holding by your team during 100 hours of coaching practice is offered by you? Thanks, Tarun, for that. And good to see you here. Yeah, these are some of the trade secrets. Yeah, something that we have perfected. 100 hours of practice, part of it we support by making it mandatory you to do the level 1 within the batch. As I said, we have typically 8 to 10 people minimum in almost in every batch, with some exceptions. Some have gone beyond 10, some couple of sessions less than 10, but typically 8 to 10 is our average size. So you practice within the batch first, few rounds. Like if there are 10 people in the batch and you practice with 9 of them, one round is 9 sessions, 2 rounds 18 sessions, right? And you also practice as a client. So that is a peer coaching that is allowed as per ICF. Well, at certain state of proficiency, we will connect you with the larger alumni, those 250 plus of them, and you also get to practice there. Once these two are done and you're at a good wicket, then we'll invite you to connect within your own network. So connecting with the third segment, the your own network, is something that you have to do it yourself, take responsibility. 1 and 2 is what? Something that we facilitate. We don't hold the gun on somebody and say that you practice with Tarun. No. It depends on also, your timings matching and your calendars permitting, and also the chemistry that you develop with individually with people. But out of 250, you even get, say, 5, right? And you do multiple sessions with each of them. And peer coaching, you can clock your 100 hours.
Subash, another way of hand holding. So what we don't do is we don't do spoon feeding.
Yes.
So that is not the interpretation of hand holding. But what we mean by hand holding is that we will support you till you finish your credentialing. So either you say that I do not want to go ahead with my credentialing, I'm just satisfied with training. There are people who have done that also. Or as much time as you're going to take to finish your credentialing, we are going to be there to support you. So that is what is meant by hand holding. And I don't think that is done by too many people. At least I'm not aware of.
Sure. So Vivekanand, do we have a batch starting in July? No, because in July we are starting a PCC batch, and PCC, the effort, the commitment is a lot more from us, from Rekha, me, and the backend team, and we run only 2 batches of PCC in first half, H1 and H2. There is no July batch, and we are very clear that we want to pretty much do maybe once in 2 months or once in 3 months ACC, because we do this for passion, Rekha, right? It's too demanding on our time, so no July. I'm also setting in saying that maybe we might start in August. We have a plan to start in August, but it will be alternate months, if not once in a quarter for ACC. PCC once in 6 months. Yeah. How many of your alumni are into leadership and executive coaching now? Yeah, very good question. That exact count I'll not have. My ballpark top of the mind number would be maybe around 10, 15 of them, not more. There are at least 15 of them. I can think of those names from across geographies, number 1. Number 2, there are a lot of alumni, very eminent alumni. Now, for example, Rekha, you call yourself life and leadership coach, right? Yeah. So Rekha is also a life coach, because that is what her passion is. But she brings 30 years of experience, so she can add value to leaders. So she's also a leadership coach. There are a lot of others like that, who come with wealth of corporate experience, but have chosen to be a wellness coach, relationship coach. Yeah. So though I feel they should have been a leadership or an executive coach. So maybe to summarize 15 of them, I can think of the.
So Subhash, just to add to that, according to me, everybody is a leadership or an executive coach, because mostly all of us have corporate clients, right? And we are engaged to coach leaders at different level. But why I'm saying life coaching is because ultimately we are coaching the person, and therefore it's all about the person's life, whether it is personal or professional. So whether I'm coaching a leader in an organization or an entrepreneur or a homemaker or a student, it's about their life.
Absolutely.
So from that, by that definition, everybody can be a leadership executive coach also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Subhash, there is a very interesting question that is a little earlier. You want to address that?
Is it easy to have a good personal, that one? A
Yes.
personal brand being a mentor than being a coach? Is it easy to be a personal brand? Yeah, definitely. My simple answer is an emphatic yes. It's easy to be a mentor than a coach. And personal branding helps there because, you come with that expertise and the aura of, I'm God's gift to humanity. I mean, on a lighter note. So mentor is definitely somebody who is an expert, right? Who comes with all the experience and the swag of expertise. So definitely yes. Very interesting question. I agree with Rekha. Is it easier to manage personal brand? I think yes. I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing this question. I feel yes, because it's very easy to put the spotlight on me. But it's a very different ballgame if I have to put the spotlight on my client. And that's what coaching is. It's very difficult to put the spotlight away from you on the client. Yes, Rekha.
See, with a mentor, you will mostly never be subject to attribution error, because the mentor is giving guidance, the mentor is giving advice, the mentor is giving gyan. With a coach, it's not that straightforward. Lot many times what happens that in a coaching session, a seed is sown in the mind of the coachee or the client. Then they go out, they do some amount of reflection, they take some action, and then they see results over a period of time. So it's not necessary that all the results would have definitely come because of the coaching only. It's not so easy to attribute it only to coaching. And therefore, I think it is more difficult to brand yourself as a coach than as a mentor, because mentoring is very clear cut, right? Straightforward. Are mentors more successful than coaches? That my answer to that would be depends on what are your metrics for success.
Absolutely. Brilliant answer. Because, success, the metrics for success differs from a coach and a mentor for sure. But the spotlight is also different. Yeah. But great question. Thanks for that. I was looking at.
There's another question. I am a student with no professional background. Shall I take up coaching as my mainstream profession?
Technically, yes. We have, we had Supriya this morning running a PCC batch session. So she was saying, she referred somebody who was an undergraduate student, in the final year undergraduate student. But she's a PCC, Supriya said, this girl has been interning with me. And then we also spoke to her, and we felt this girl has tremendous potential. So she did her ACC, completed her subsequently MA in psychology or MSc psychology, and she's working and also doing part-time coaching. So age is no barrier. That is one. Wearing my marketing hat, ICF research says millennial coaching is one of the prime emerging segments, marketing segments. So I feel perhaps a trained certified coach from that age segment might be able to address the concerns that the typical millennial has. So you can, but if you choose to come to us, we will be cautious. We want to make sure that you will fit into the batch and this is right for you. And frankly, we don't allow anyone and everyone to walk into our programs. So we are constantly evaluating whether you'll fit into the larger group of the batch and also the alumni.
Yeah. Also, Subash, the flip side of that, right? If you're not coaching millennials, let's say. Now, if you are a student and you do not have any professional background, even though you may be an excellent coach with all the coaching competencies, will you be able to establish credibility in the corporate world? Unfortunately, the corporate world still doesn't understand the differences between mentoring, consulting, coaching so well.
Very true.
And do expect or do look at your past credentials, unfortunately.
Yes.
So if that is not a consideration, then definitely, I mean, there is no reason why. In fact, I would say the younger you are, the more, the better
potential, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No baggage, right?
Absolutely. So is Regal one-stop shop for all ICF credentials? Not all ICF credentials, because as of now we are offering ACC, PCC, and mentoring only. We are not offering MCC, though Rekha and I can handle it, but we've just not chosen to start that. So yeah, to that extent, not that. But is Regal a one-stop shop for coaching? That I would feel yes, because we are doing this retreat. We are doing a leader as coach program, nurturing middle-level leaders to incorporate coaching. We are also, doing the professional coaching, right? Professional coaching one-to-one and in team. So to that extent, one-stop shop for coaching, yes. For ICF, yeah, almost there, 80-90%. Because we are not offering MCC, that's only reason. Yeah. And we are not also started training for team coaching because we feel that is still evolving within ICF. So it's premature to launch a training for, though Rekha and I are undergoing training on, Rekha with the MCC, I am doing it with ICF. So combined, also with our experience in managing teams. I don't know if that answer that question. Any follow-up question I can before, I'll also, what is the minimum eligibility for ACC versus PCC coach? You don't have to be an ACC to go for PCC. That, that I already answered earlier. If you're talking about joining us, we are very picky about our PCC batches. Yeah, because that's why we run just 2 batches in a year. We want you to have completed ACC level training with us or elsewhere. If you have done with us, we know you. If you have not done with us, then we will evaluate you. Yeah. I don't know, Tarun, if that answers your question. How mature is India's coaching market? So we are also evaluating the maturity of the market through this research. But Rekha already answered this. The corporates still look for corporate experience before hiring an executive coach. For me, that is an indication of lack of maturity. It's still evolving. It's much better than what it was 5 years or 10 years ago. To that extent, we are hopeful. Yes.
One sideline, Subash, that if you become an ICF coach, you don't need to be limited to Indian market.
You should not. I'll go one step further. Yeah. Because I've seen, the overseas clients bring a very different approach to this. No, not being judgmental here, but I've seen there is a difference for sure. I've experienced, and pricing becomes a lot more easier with overseas clients.
Way more
so that is,
right?
definitely more interest. So Tarun and others, who are looking at professional coaching, you must be prepared to look at a bigger canvas. Yeah, I mean, we have a common friend who gets a lot of Indians, third generation Indian from Fiji, for example, who is his client from African continent. Descendants of Indian, but they are very comfortable to connect with an Indian coach. Of course, we have trained people from New Zealand to South America. So, because it's an ICF approved curriculum, so there is no difference. Every batch we have had overseas participants, either Indians from there or including some foreigners. So, yeah. Tarun has a lot of questions today. Some cost indication. Yeah, so the cost is 140,000 plus GST for ACC that is payable to us, and you pay to ICF $550 when you apply to ICF. That is a cost, the amount that you should be preparing for. The fee to us can be paid in installments. We have tied up with interest-free option with a finance company. There's a channel partner who offers interest-free, but with 1% processing fee. Yeah. So we just connect you to them and they'll take it from there. So it's 140,000, whatever the loan amount divided by 3, 6, 9 or 12 installments. But it is interest free from us, but only 1% processing fee that you have to pay, which I feel is very, very fair because I come from a BFSA background. 1% processing fee is very nominal. Does batch normally include mix of applicants aiming to become different kind of? Yeah, very good question. No, so the question is, does the batch include different profiles like executive coaches, life coaches? The answer is they end up there. So today, if you're starting to become a coach, you might come with a plan that I want to become an executive coach, but that is not necessarily the final. It evolves around the program. Number two, right from the first session, we keep discussing the business side of coaching. Yeah, so and the coaching model. What is your coaching model? Is your first assignment. You need to come up with your coaching model, which speaks about what is your business background, what is your personal life experiences, and which is segment that you're comfortable with. I had somebody speaking to me saying for an aspiring coach saying that I want to coach couples who are getting married just before wedding, because nobody's prepared for wedding, he says. I thought it was a very good segment. So it can evolve. And my recommendation is it's good to come with a perspective that I'll become an executive coach or a life coach or a wellness coach, but allow that to evolve during this journey. Because there are a couple of assignments that you do as part of this program, which will give you their clarity. And of course, mentoring inputs from Rekha and I. Yeah? Rekha, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, and on a lighter note, it's like being in school, right? You need to go through the entire school curriculum before you branch out into any specialized higher education. Somewhat like that. Because the fundamentals are going to be the same. In fact, the fundamentals are the same whether you're at ACC, PCC, or MCC level. It just, the competencies are at a higher level of proficiency and you're doing a deeper level of coaching. Otherwise, it's all the same thing. So, and it doesn't matter whether then you're coaching, becoming an executive coach or a life coach or a relationship coach or a transition coach or a career coach. Those are labels, frankly, those are used for better scalability.
Very true. Which takes me to the related question. What is one caveat every aspiring coach should look for while making a decision to take up coaching? So when you say take up coaching, I'm considering this as a professional coaching to earn bread and butter from this. Very good question. The standard answer I always give, which I learned from Dr. Marshall Goldsmith when I started this journey, is it's one thing to become a good coach. It's a very different thing to become a good entrepreneur. If you want to become a good coach, there are three elements that make a good coach. When I always share a golden triangle for this, the base is the skill of coaching, everything that will train you. You commit to the rigor of this program, you will become a good coach. I guarantee you that. That's the rigor Rekha and I bring into this. That is one triangle of the golden triangle. The second triangle is the business side of coaching. If you want to become, we have a lot of our recent alumni are very clear that we don't want to jump into professional coaching. They're happy with their work. They're happy with everything that is happening on the work front, but they still want to have a backup post-retirement or something. God forbid, there is an emergency, right? Today, you don't know. So this is the plan B. At the same time, they also want to use the skill at work. But if you want to become a professional coach, you can't ignore the business side of it. Another example I always give, it's the same old story, some of you might have heard also, is that it's like a chartered accountant setting up a practice or a dentist setting up a practice. You might be a gold medalist in CA. That doesn't guarantee you any business. No? You still have to go around with your initial days of struggle to get your first few clients. And this business, like every other service, it seems most of the business globally happens through referral. So you satisfy one client, that's a cascading effect. You would have seen a lot of things that we do online to promote coaching and coach training. We don't do anything on healing, but you'll be surprised to know that bulk of our business comes from referrals, coaching, coach training, and healing. But why do we then take so much effort to be online? Because if somebody wants to evaluate, we want to be transparent. This is what we are, right? This is what we want to be open and transparent. So looking at our social media presence, you can figure out who we are. And you will find that consistency, that I can guarantee you. There is no mask that we are putting on. Yeah. So, and the third triangle to close the thing. So it's the coaching skill, the business side of coaching, the branding, the niche, the macro niche, the social media presence, your website, all that is discussed as part of the curriculum, formally and informally. The third one is what Rekha said. On top, it is the deep work, the self-work. That can never stop. We need to totally be aligned with that. Yeah. So that is about the caveat. I hope it answers. Any follow-up on that? Happy to answer, Rekha or I. Shivram, do we provide any course material? Again, great question. A lot of good questions this time, Rekha. So because that just reminds me, the curriculum is designed. There are two core elements to this curriculum when it is ICF approved. One is 80% focus is on ICF coaching competencies. So ICF gives you that template. It's part of our deck, the approved deck. So that is the first part. So anyway, 80% is ICF curriculum. So if you ask me what is the balance 20%, there are a few other things that we bring in, like leadership, business side, and other things. The second point that I want to bring in also is that course material. Now there is a deck that is shared with you. There is some additional material that we give you. The only thing that you need to perhaps spend on is few books, because you have to present one book. We also recommend a couple of books as a pre-read. And this is when you're talking about lifelong learning and growing, you have to invest in some books. Not a lot, right? Don't worry if you're not a voracious reader. Rekha and I are not voracious readers, but we still survive. So little bit of books and material, then you are doing fine. Yeah, that's about the course material.
Subash, I want to add something to course materials, and then I want to try the next question. It's a very beautiful question.
Sure.
So course materials, this what we are doing here is like adult learning. A lot of it is actually expected by the learner to do on their own. So what we can provide is pointers to material, and also encourage learners to source material on their own rather than being hand given material from us. That makes it way richer. So Vivekanand is asking, having expertise in a specific field and interest to help others can make someone a mentor or trainer. But what is the exact driver, according to you, for someone to become a coach, or someone should start practice coaching? Very beautiful question.
Great question.
I don't know how much emphasis is on that word exact. I don't know what could be an exact driver. I can say what is a driver for an individual. So I can say what's the driver for me, and then maybe Subhash can share what's his driver. So for me, what I'm passionate about and what excites me the most is when people are able to answer questions for themselves. I love it when I don't have to give answers, and when you can find the answers by yourself, and I can partner you while you're finding out the answers. That is what excites me. The Michelangelo picture, where he doesn't carve out an image in the stone, but he sees the image and he just chips off what is not the image, and the image emerges, right? That is a picture, and that is a metaphor that is my driver. So that is what brings me to coaching, rather than I could do mentoring, I could do consulting. I was a trainer, I was a teacher, I was a consultant, I was a mentor. I've played all these roles, but I think coaching and being a coach excites me the most for this reason. So this is my driver. Subash, what's yours?
I can't agree more. You need to enjoy helping others, but the word help is also not so appreciated in the coaching context. Help still comes from a position of authority or expertise. It's still partnering. But if you really love to touch lives in a transformational way, based on a process of the coaching, it's not your individual brilliance. It's not like a guru, but it's more the process is the hero here. It's neither the coach nor the client. That is one. If I have to add one more point, it is about the coaching mindset. Do you have the mindset of a coach? And I feel you can't learn that. You just choose to become one fine morning that I'm going to become a coach, and you think that you'll have the natural gift of coaching mindset. I personally feel no, it's not so easy. So if you already have a coaching mindset, it's much easier. So coaching mindset is what, if I can, it's a competency number 2 of ICF now. But the way I'm kind of answering in a different context, whether you can commit to that lifelong growth, self-work that Rekha spoke of. Can you surrender to the process? Here it is not about my ability to demonstrate all competencies. It's about helping to partner with the client. Like, I'm correcting myself the word helping. It's partner with the client so the client find answers, as Rekha beautifully said. So it is very important that ultimately I'm just very comfortable being backstage and allow like a director. And I'm very happy that the hero is my client and the spotlight is on the client. And this is very important. A lot of people come up thinking that I have the coaching mindset, I can have the spotlight and others. No, that's not the case with a lot of people. It's a struggle. And also the final point, when you're talking about learning, we're talking about a new skill. Trust us on this. You think that you're a super coach today, that would be broken on the first day of this program. You'll know that whatever coaching you have been doing, most of it was not coaching. Then it is about unlearning. Can it take that also? 20, 30 years experience, we come in and start learning again. Can I go back to the Montessori and start the alphabets? It's almost as challenging as that. Yeah. What a great question, Vivekanand. Yeah. Tarun, what is the timeline for completing all stages till finally ICF? Great question. So we have a mandate. When you sign the agreement, it is mentioned there. Within 6 months, we wanted to complete with maximum 6 months, minimum 4 months, because it takes 4 months to complete the training program. In 4 to 6 months, you should complete the certification bit. Then what is left is primarily that recording for ICF and balance of 100 hours. That we demand that you complete in 1 year. So we have had brilliant runners who submitted on the last day of that training and cleared successfully, of course. But there are people, some of you are here who are referred by other coaches. There are a couple of people who have gone little beyond 1 year also. But we have found that 1 year gives you the benefit of the momentum. That's also very important. It's like 3-4 sessions a week and 365 days only, right? I mean, even if you average 3, you're done. 2, right? Less than 2. 1.5, you're done 500 hours. So it's not difficult. But then, when it is peer coaching, point to be noted, Taran, you also have to give time for the client. So if you're coaching somebody from the community, you also have to give time for the other coach as a client. So it's actually double the time for that block to be taken as a peer coaching practice hours. So the time can be much more than 100 hours there. So to summarize, 6 months for our certification, 1 year for ICF submission. And on that note, let me also say with all humility and praise, touchwood, that our strike rate is 100%. None of our students have flunked in the test, nor their recordings have been rejected. When I speak about rigor, that is what the rigor is. Again, once you start training and practicing, we evaluate you, we give you mentoring feedback based on PCC markers. So we are actually setting up at a PCC level. So then ACC is a pretty simple thing. Now, when we are doing PCC batches, both of us are MCCs. We are actually training them at an MCC level because they're already exposed to PCC level markers. So we can't repeat any of them, and most of them are our alumni who have moved from ACC to PCC. So that's the rigor and the depth that we bring in, and all that we are doing it in these 4 months and 100 hours of practice. Right? That makes it rigorous. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, we have
There is another lovely question. You want to take it, or how can I know will I be a good coach?
Okay. Arati, you're here. You're a good coach. First, it starts from that trust yourself. So again, go back to the golden triangle. Trust the process. Of course, surrender to the process. Second, trust the client. One of the assumptions that we look at in day 1, maybe the first hour, is we assume the client is complete. And the metaphor that Rekha said, the idol was always inside the block. You just have to chisel away what is not necessary, right? Michelangelo. So to that extent, you trust the client. You do these two, and you trust yourself. Because you go through this journey, you will, achieve certain level of proficiency. So how can I know? The client will tell you. It's not even your evaluation of the coaching conversation. The client will tell you how this session will go. There have been so many instances in my professional coaching that I feel, was it really useful? Because every session I want to leave the client with the aha moment, right? That is my performance pressure at a very, very subtle level. No, but what the clients, then I personally end the conversation with how did it go, what are your key takeaways, and how was it worth spending time? And sometimes the client says, just the space that you provide, non-judgmental and deep listening, it's worth in gold, they say. But then, that is being a good coach. The client will figure out all answers for the question. This is what Rekha was mentioned, right? That's what makes her stay on this space. Yeah. So how will I know? You have to surrender to the process, trust the client, and trust yourself. Anything you want to add, Rekha?
And are you willing to unlearn? Are you willing to relearn? Are you willing to be okay that your client is capable of finding their own answers? Are you willing to learn to not constantly have this urge to give answers, to solve somebody else's problems? And can you look at how you will benefit yourself if you actually were able to control these urges, and how that could transform your own relationships in your life? And if that is attractive for you, then yes, you can be a good coach.
Rest of it, leave it to us.
Yeah, what are we here for?
Yeah.
And it's like asking, can you train me to be a good coach?
Absolutely. Yeah. So thanks for all great questions. And I can see every one of you stayed on. There is not a single dropout. Thanks for that. Appreciate a lot. Just one more minute, then 1 minute for Rekha. See, we are here because this is our passion. We left our corporate life, and we do this. Rekha and I do this for passion. And while our program appears to be expensive, we'll see what we bring into the table. Yeah. Wearing the sales hat, with your permission, the batch is almost full. As always, we have a heterogeneous batch. Those of you, I can see some of you sitting on the fence. Do connect with the team. If you still have any follow-up questions, feel free to connect with Rekha or I, or the team is already in touch with you. Happy to answer all your questions and sign. And we are starting a batch on June 4th on alternate Saturdays over the next 4 months. Yeah. Rekha, closing remarks to you.
For the first time, Subash, on the issue of pricing, let me say, because I never talk sales, right? So on the note of pricing, we have been told by a few of our learners that, in fact, you should be charging more for what you give. Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, it's there. All these are verifiable facts, recorded. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. Take care. Any questions, please come back to us. At least some of you, we hope to see you in the June 4th batch.
Yes.
Bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
See you all. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Rekha.
Bye. Bye. Bye.